Well, Karen, most people know you as Karen from Play School. It was your first job when you left NIDA.
Yes.
And now you've been doing Play School since 1998, so it's about 18 years. What keeps you staying at Play School?
Oh, wow, there's so many things. I mean, it's just such a blessing to be in a job like that because, I mean, you're there to give children that time in their lives, permission to play, to be creative, to teach them things that they can learn. And the things that we teach them are not just, oh, how do you cook something or whatever, but it's about, like, the last block I just did was about, helping people. Like, so you're asking people if they want help, or you asking someone you need help, and the joy of actually what that means to share that, help, with each other, that it's actually quite fun. It's awesome that way because there is some of it, there's a sense of the Christian sort of, teachings of, what it is to live together and how we do it in a fun and creative way, but also with a responsible way too. And I think it's just, and the people that you meet and you think you're part of something that has just been going on for so long and it works. So it's a privilege, yeah.
What changes have you seen over the years that you've been doing Play School?
Wow, many. For example, like I think when I first started, I got in there and I didn't realise, but that what happens is you would read the script, you would rehearse, and you would go through it a couple of times, and then they shoot it, and you did it in one take. So from the beginning to the end, it did not stop. So you're running around cameras, you were finding your right positions, you had to be ready, and no one had to tell you when you were ready, you just had to be there. So I think this goes back to the first question, is that it was the best training ground for an actor, because you had to be ready, you had to take responsibility, and you had to be creative because you could make mistakes and you sometimes just had to cover them or just make up something and keep going. So that's one thing that's changed, because now we do it in sections. Yeah. So it's a little bit more polished, a little bit more rehearsed and everything. I mean, the spontaneity is still there, but I think that's the main one. But I think the beauty about Play School is the things that haven't changed. There's very little that has changed. I mean, yes, the presenters have changed, but there's still that same quality that is asked of presenters to speak to the child, to communicate with them and to share this space with someone else and play. All those things are just all still there, yeah.
Do you find that you learn things yourself in some of the messages that you're communicating to the kids?
Yeah, you really do. I think, like I said, in terms of, I think the last few we had, was about things like, language and the joy of sharing different languages among people and among other children who, because we're such a multicultural society, we're sharing I think fun moments, or even just how do we learn to do something that we don't quite know, like that puzzle or that, that problem that you have to solve. So that just to remember that life is like that, and the kids will see if you're faking it, and and to really sort of find that and to remember that. And that's something that I always remember, yeah.
What I like is the fact that, now we go through products and technology moves so quickly. But to be able to see, Big Ted and Jemima still there.
Yeah, they're still there.
50 years later, they're still relevant. And kids still can identify with that. It's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Those toys haven't changed, but kids, whether it be, 50, 40 years before to now, they're the same toys, but they still draw to them, because of their, they have certain identities and qualities are very unique, and kids draw to that, yeah.
You were saying that in the earlier days that there were one takes, and we know that Colin Buchanan was on the radio recently, and he said the young ones, they have no idea. Did you have moments embarrassing or great moments that you recall? Just being caught out and stuff.
Oh yeah, and I think the great thing, I still remember my first one. I had to do with I think it was Simon Burke and George Spartel, because the first one the first few you do, they really make sure you're kind of, you got support system there, because it's it's a very daunting to do that, you know, that one take. And I can't remember this puzzle. I think it was like, I think it was only, you know, most of the puzzles are only 4 pieces. They're made out of tissue boxes. Yeah. And I remember not being able to put it together. Like every time I'd say, is it finished? Because I was learning how the camera sees it reversed. And so I was looking at the screen that was showing me what was, you know, the camera was seeing. But I couldn't quite work out the tail from the front and the head from the back. And they were all cracking up. And they didn't stop the tape, because sometimes, you know, they do, but they just wanted me to keep going, and it just got funnier and funnier and funnier. So there were moments like that when just getting those little things, you know, like you go, oh, I can't quite work that technical part of it out. And so learning things like that, yeah.